Okay, it's lucky about that. And now therefore know and consider what would I do, for evil is determined against our master and against all his household. Okay, against Nabal. All right. For he is such a son of Belial, of what? Devil. Belial, what? Demon. Okay. That a man cannot speak to him. So this man, unreasonable. This man was an unreasonable, brutish, a man with no manners at all. Then Abigail made haste and took 200 loaves and 2 bottles of wine and 5 sheep ready dressed and 5 measures of parched corn and 100 clusters of raisins and 200 cakes of figs and laid them on asses, in other words donkeys. So when she was told this, she made haste to quickly get to David. And she said unto her servants, go on before me, behold, I am come after you. But she told not her husband Nabal. She didn't tell Nabal what was happening at all. Okay. And it was so, as she rode on the ass and she came down by the covert of the hill, and behold, David and his men. Okay, so she followed behind those servants. Okay. And David and his men came down against her. And she met them. And guess what? It's different. You got to picture this. Back then it's different to how it is today. That was a high, that was a risk. Because it said all of Nabal and his household. That was a risk Abigail was taking. Because it could have got to the point where, even though she done that, David could have took her out. That was a great risk. And David and his men came down against her, okay, off them horses, and she met them. Now David had said, surely in their vein I have kept all that this fellow have in the wilderness, so that nothing was missed of all that he pertained unto him. So it was a thing where David done Nabal a good deed, but I wasn't reciprocated, if I'm using the right word. And he have requited me evil for good. And this is also written in the Psalms. Those that requited what? David evil for good. And so I more also do the most high unto the enemies of David, if I leave of all that pertain to him by the morning. Okay, light any that pisseth against the wall. In other words, David was looking to slay them all. Okay. And when Abigail saw David, she hasted and lighted off the ass and fell before David on her face and bowed herself toward the ground. Excuse me. And fell at his feet and said, upon me, Lord, upon me, let this iniquity be. And let thy handmaid, I pray thee, speak in thy audience and hear the words of thine handmaid. Let not my Lord, I pray thee, regard this man of Belial. Okay. So Nabal was of the house and stock of Belial. It shows you have wicked Israelites. Okay. Even Nabal, for as his name is, so is he. Names, omen, nomens. Okay. Nabal, and I don't really get into all that omen, nomen things, but sometimes there's name predictions. Okay. Nabal is his name and folly is with him. In other words, he was a fool. But I, okay, thy handmaid saw not the young men of my Lord whom thou didst send. Okay. Now therefore, my Lord, as the Lord Yahawashi liveth, as thy soul liveth, seeing the Lord have withholding thee from coming to shed blood, okay, and from avenging thyself, okay, with thy own hands. And now let thy enemies, and that they shall seek evil to my Lord, be as Nabal. Give me just a minute. So, yes, on verse 26, what was King David saying? King David, he took our words. Okay? And he respected those words because he said, now therefore, my Lord, as the Lord Yahawashi liveth, as thy soul liveth, seeing the Lord have withholding thee from coming to shed blood. Okay? So, the Lord Yahawashi used this woman to stop King David from doing that. And from avenging thyself with thy own hand, because that would have been off. And the scripture says, avenge not thyself, but give what place unto wrath. So all these precepts link up. They all link up. Okay. And from avenging thyself of thy own hand, now let thine enemies and they that seek evil to my Lord be as Nabal. Okay. And now this blessing which thy handmaid have brought unto my Lord, let it even be given unto the young men that follow my Lord. So King David said he accepted the food, everything, the raisins and the wine, And he gave that to his young men. What a king King David was. And I pray thee, forgive the trespass of thy handmaid, for the Lord will certainly make my Lord a sure house, because my Lord fighteth the battles of the Lord Yahawashi, and evil have not been found in all thy days. And we're going to continue reading. Yet a man is risen to pursue thee and seek thy soul, but the soul of my Lord shall be bound in a bundle of life with the Lord Yahawah, thy power, and the souls of thy enemies, them shall they sling out as the middle of a sling. And it shall come to pass, when the Lord Yahawah shall have done to my Lord according to the good that he hath spoken concerning thee, shall have appointed ruler over Israel, that this shall be no grief unto thee, nor offence of the heart unto my Lord Yahawah, either that thou hast shed blood causeless, or that my Lord have avenged himself. But when the Lord shall have dealt with my Lord, then remember thy handmaid. Okay, which is who? Abigail. Okay, and this was all prophecy as well. And David said unto Abigail, blessed be the Lord power of Israel, which sent thee this day to meet me. Okay, because that was all by the Spirit. Okay, to stop King David from what? Taking matters into his own hands. Was he right to do that? Yes, because that was a major disrespect that Nabal what? Had unto King David. And blessed be that advice. Okay, because that was good advice. It stopped King David from what? Being presumptuous, taking matters into his own hands. And blessed be thou which has kept me this day from coming to shed blood. Okay, and from avenging myself, right, with my own hand. Right, so he never avenged himself with his own hand, because vengeance belongs to Yahawashi. For in the verity there's the Lord power of Israel liveth, that has kept me back from hurting thee, except that has hastened and come to meet me. Surely that had not been left unto Nabal by the morning, like any that pisseth against the wall. So that woman, she changed everything up. Everything. Okay. So David received of her a hand that which she had brought him, and said unto her, go up in peace in thy house. See, I have hearkened to thy voice. Okay, and have accepted thy person. Alright? Or anything else? Maybe just a minute. And Abigail came to Nabal, and behold, he held a feast in his house, unlike the feast of a king. So this man was greedy. Okay. And Nabal's heart was merry with him, for he was very drunken, and wherefore she told him nothing, less or more, until the morning light. But it came to pass in the morning, when the wine was gone out of Nabal, okay, and his wife had told him these things, that his heart died within him. In other words, he was shooken up. He was fright. Okay, and this was after he was, so basically that means he was sober. Okay, and that's when it really sunk in. And it came to pass in the morning, when the wine was gone out of Nabal, and his wife told him these things, that his heart died within him. His heart he became a stone. He froze up. He was shocked. Okay, by the conduct that he had. And it came to pass after 10 days of the Lord Yahawah smote Nabal, that he died. And when David heard that Nabal was dead, he said, blessed be the Lord Yahawah, that had pleaded the cause of my reproach. And that's how we know the ultimate judge is Yahawashi. He pleads our case. Okay, from the hand of Nabal, and have kept his servant from evil. And the Lord hath returned the wickedness of Nabal upon his own head. And David sent and communed with Abigail to take her to him to wife. So after that, after Abigail was dead, he took Abigail to wife, which was not unlawful, by the way, because the scriptures in the law, you can do that if the husband dies. And when the servants of David were come to Abigail to Carmel, they spake unto her, saying, David sent unto us thee to take thee to him a wife. And she arose and bowed herself, okay, on her face to the earth, and said, behold, let thine handmaid be a servant to wash the feet of thy servants of my Lord. Okay, so Abigail was requiring, let me be a servant and let me wash the feet, okay, of your servants also. What a woman. So you don't get women like these days. It's very rare. And Abigail hasted. and arose and rode upon an ass with 5 damsels of hers. So she had asses of herself. Remember, because remember she was married to what? A wealthy man. That went, so like it, and with her 5 damsels. Damsels is what? Young women. Okay, of hers that went after her. And she went after the messengers of David and became his wives. David also took Ahinoam of Jezreel, and they were also both of them his wives. Okay, but Saul had given Michal, his daughter, David's wife, to Phalti, son Eliash, which was Galam. That's going into something else. So now, bear me just a minute. Now we went into that. You see the moral of the whole story. There's always something to learn. So now, let's go to Ecclesiastes 4:14 and 3. Babakasha. And you're gonna have men that are in the truth with that same mentality, the exact same mentality. Okay, niggards. Bear me just a minute. That don't like sharing. All right. They don't like sharing at all. So let's go to Ecclesiastes. Where was it? 14 and get straight to the point. Did I write down the right one? Bear me just a minute. It's Ecclesiastes 31 and 24. Ecclesiastes 31 and 24. Okay, here we go. And 23. This is Ecclesiastes 31 and 23. Whoso is liberal of his meat. And meat, we know, that's physical, chicken, turkey, lamb, whatever. And the meat is also represents goods. Okay. Men shall speak well of him. So them servants that King David sent out, were they speaking well of Nabal? No. They were not speaking well of him. He had a reputation of being a niggard. Okay. A churlish man. So he who is liberal of his meat, men shall speak well of him. Liberal, generous. And the scriptures, it deals with what? Charity, being generous. A man that's charitable is very, 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 very generous. Okay. And a report of his goods, housekeeping, will be believed. Remember, them 10 young men had to report back to David. So Nabal's housekeeping, it wasn't a good report. It was a bad report. Okay. But against him that is a niggard of his meat, the whole city shall murmur. Okay. Complain against him. And the testimonies of his niggardness, stinginess, niggardness means stinginess, shall not be doubted of. So it wasn't doubted of. You had the men that were sent there. Okay. That actually had the testimony of Nabal. Okay. And it wasn't a good one. He was not generous. Remember, King David looked after his flock. His young men looked after his flock. But he didn't return the same favor. So you may be a brother in this truth. You may return a good favor, and a man may requite you with an evil favor. Okay. This is what's going to happen in the truth. And I hope this is edifying. I wasn't too sure how this lesson would turn out. So now we went into that. We're going to go into one thing at a time. Now we're going to go to Proverbs 3 and 27. The scriptures deal with everything. Everything the scriptures deal with. Proverbs 3 and 27. Babakashah. It says, withhold not goods from them whom it is due. So it's always speaking about the spiritual things first. So even in this truth, we're not supposed to be withholding anything. Anything at all. Okay? Withhold not good from them in whom it is due, when it's in thy power to thy hand to do it. So don't hold, if it's in your power and you have leisure to push his truth, don't hold back. And in a spiritual aspect, so like in a physical aspect, if it's in your power to help a brother, help him out. Say not unto thy neighbor, go and come again. Okay. And you have it by you. And tomorrow I will give unto thee. And tomorrow I will give when thou has it by thee. You already have it. You have it. But you're lying. But it said, no, I ain't got it. See, these are attributes of the world. Especially, really don't want to be doing that to brothers in the truth. Okay. Oh, man. So, with this truth, we're not supposed to be withholding it. You have something. You see you can build up a brother. Well, you build him up. So now we went to let's go into James 3 and 14. Precept upon precept, line upon line, here a little, there a little. So this is James 2. And we're going to start at 17. Even so, faith, if it have not worked, is dead, being alone. So it's one thing to have faith, but with faith comes works, and with works comes faith. So with great works, you're going to have great faith. And even if you have little works, you still have, it's just little faith, but you still have faith. Okay? But it's dead, being alone. You need both. Both of them complement each other. Yeah, man, say thou hast faith and have works. Show me that faith without that works. So anybody can say, yeah, I have great faith. I just have great faith. I've had men that have told me that over and over again. But faith is shown by works, and works is shown by faith. Okay. I'm moving too fast. That's not what I was looking for. Baby, just a minute. What doth it profit? Aye, Slakia. What doth it profit, my brethren, though a man say you have faith and have not works? Can faith save him? Right? So you need both. And we know this ain't applying to those that are saved in the last hour. If a brother or sister be naked and destitute of daily food, or one of you say unto them, depart in peace, be ye warmed and filled, notwithstanding you give not them not those things which are needful to the body, so you give them what's needed. Right? You give to the body what's needed. You don't withhold it. What doth it profit? What doth it profit unless you give the individual what's needed? A man's destitute, a man's naked, a man's destitute of daily food. You see a poor man, you don't tell them, oh, you get over it. No, you help it, especially if you got it there by you. There's too many niggas in this truth, man. There's too many grimy niggas in this truth. And how would you know a nigger? Because he's stingy. You could know a nigger just by the word he pushes, just by the way he pushes the words. You would know. You can't be in that spirit, well, I got what I need now. Don't worry about everybody else. That's a nigger. And you should know, because if you were in the world, all of us, once upon a time, we were niggers. Niggers. So you'd be able to know that in the truth. But how men are with this truth? You're supposed to be generous. Generous. And charity, it doesn't always equate to money. Okay? And charity means agape. Okay? In the Greek, agape. Okay? Benevolent. A king, you do know we're learning to be rulers. So here it is. You may have great substance. So what do you do with that substance? You feed the people, you help them, you distribute it. That's what you do. And more so when you have substance with what? Which is the word. Because the word is a substance as well. You can't just keep all this truth to yourself. You're learning all this truth. You can't keep it to yourself. You bug out. Oh man, so let's go to Ecclesiastes 14 and 3. Okay. Go to Ecclesiastes 14 and 3. Ecclesiasticus 14 and 3, if I'm saying it right. We're going to start at verse 3. Riches are not comely, are not good. Okay. For a niggard. Okay? A stingy person, a miser. And what should an envious man do with money? Because if you give money and riches, okay, to an envious man, what's he going to do? What's he going to do? What are you going to do if you give a nigger money? He's going to blow it on something silly. Foolishness. Right? And that's why Esau, he can give you millions and millions, and he doesn't care because he knows Jake doesn't really have the mindset and wisdom to know how to operate when he has something. When he has a multitude of abundance of something. He doesn't know how to deal with it. That's why wisdom is so important. So it says, what should an envious man do with money? Okay. He that gathereth by defrauding his own soul gathereth for others, that shall spend his goods righteously. He that is evil to himself. So this is about what? First of all, to do good to anybody else, it always starts with ourselves. So he that is evil to himself, whom will he be good? If you're always evil to yourself, if you don't know how to look after yourself, how can you do good to any? So it always starts with ourselves. Always. To whom shall he be good? He shall not take pleasure in his goods at all. Okay? But it's none worse than he that envieth himself. There's nothing worse than a man that envies himself. And this is the recompense of his wickedness. That's the recompense of your own wickedness. If you envy yourself that much, well, that's a reflection of your own wickedness. Okay? A lot of men can't look in the mirror. A lot of men can't sleep at night. That's the recompense of your own wickedness. That's why you want to be doing right to brothers and according to yourself. So you have the right mind, so you have a good conscience towards Yahawashi and towards what? The body. 1 verse 7, and if he doeth good, he doeth it unwillingly. You got men, they do it good, but they do it unwillingly. And at the last he would declare his wickedness. At the last end, at the last moment. Okay? Because that's a wicked nigger. And if he doeth good, he would bear him from it. And an envious man have a wicked eye. You still got that all up in the truth. And that's why it is good. If you're amongst individuals like that, you better get yourself away from them. And Yahawashi will remove you away from envious men. Because the envious men, what's that going to lead to? Covetousness. And all the other sins in between. Every other sin. So you can't be around covetous men. You can't be around envious men. Right? Have a wicked eye. He turneth away his face and despiseth men. So he turns away his face. Because he doesn't want you to see that he despises you. You bring out a scripture, this guy keeps turning his face. Because he envies you. A covetous man's eye is not satisfied with his portion. The portion that Yahawashi has given him. And every man's been given a portion, every man's been given a lot. And the iniquity of the wicked drive up his soul. The iniquity of the wicked drive up his soul. Okay? Because he's covetous. He desires what? The things of this world. He can never have enough. Dangerous signs. You remember when I talk about Judas? That was the signs of a Judas. All the signs are there. But men ignore these signs. Right? And you may say, well, you think of it. Why aren't these men kicked out of the camp? Because I don't know. I don't know. Okay. The Lord can have them lingering about just so they can be destroyed. But all these spirits are in the truth. And that's why Yahawashi separates his men, because he can't have a member of the hopeful elect scattered around men like that. You need to remove yourself, especially when you have talents. You're going to see more envious, you're going to see more jealousy, you're going to see more hate. So the more you show your gifts, the more you're going to see men who are demonic, that are jealous. You can't be around that. Okay? A wicked eye envieth his bread, and he is a niggard at the table. He's envying his own bread, and he's a niggard at the table, stretching his arms around when you could just say, would you pass me the plate, please? Would you grab that for me? Would you grab the sauce and pass it here? No manners. And what did Judas do? He dipped his hand. He dipped his hand in the bread. He dipped it. So again, all these signs, there's signs. Come on. A lot of you, you're not reading the scriptures. Well, some of you are reading the scriptures, but you haven't been given that understanding. A wicked other envies bread, and he's a niggard at his table. Judas was a niggard at the table. And Yahawashi knew that. You got men saying, well, he never said anything about it. Yes, he did. He mentioned it several times. Prior to Judas Iscariot selling out Yahawashi, he mentioned it several times. Okay? Oh, man. My son, according to thy ability, do good to thyself and give the Lord his due offering. So do good unto thyself and give the Lord his due offering, which is praises. Go out into the highways and byways if it's possible. Do your videos. Pray, fast. Extol Yahawashi's name. Okay? Do these things. Okay, one more scripture I'm going to shut off if I can find it. I didn't write this one down. Scriptures, man, I'm learning something new every single day. Every single day I'm increasing in more understanding and learning, and I want brothers and sisters too as well. I'm not going to keep this truth to myself. Be selfish. Whatever I know, I want you to know as well. Whatever Yahawashi has bestowed upon me, I want you to know. Bear me just a minute. Quickly search for this. Where was it? Yes, found it. We're going to shut off on this. Is 2 Corinthians 8 and 5. Therefore I thought it necessary to exhort the brethren, Paul, that they would go before you and make up beforehand your bounty. Whereof ye have noticed before, the same might be ready as a matter of bounty, not as of covetousness. Okay, as bounty. And when you're bountiful in something, that means you've increased. And not as covetousness. But this I say, he which soweth sparingly shall reap sparingly. So you get what you put in. You only get out what you put in. So you put in less, you're going to get less. Doesn't mean you're not going to get anything. You're just going to get less of what you put in. And he that soweth bountifully shall reap bountifully. In large measures. You're going to get back bountifully. Okay? In large measures. I'm telling you, it pays off. All the effort you put in, it's going to pay off. Okay? I'm talking about spiritually as well. Every man according as he purposeth in his heart. Because you know what you've been given. And you know what you can do. And you know if you may be holding back. So let him give. Not grudgingly. Okay. Oh, I don't want to see miser. That's that niggard mentality. Not grudgingly. Oh, but I don't want to do this. Well, if that's your spirit, don't do it at all. If you don't want to do something, but then you do it, it's better that you don't do it at all. Because you're not sincere. Not grudgingly. Oh, do I have to link up with brothers today? Oh, do I have to do a video today? Oh, do I have to give this brother a lift today? Well, if you're thinking like that, you're off. Or of necessity, for the Most High loveth a cheerful giver. So he loves a cheerful giver, loves that. So what we need to be, cheerful givers. And that starts spiritually. And also what? In a physical aspect as well. Okay? So if you're going to do something, do it out of your heart, out of a good will. Okay, and with this lesson I really hope this was edifying, because it sure well did edify me. And until the next time, shalom.